After more than 3 decades of questions and grief, Tamika Reyes finally knows who killed her mother. In February 1990, about 15 months after she was killed, the paper received an anonymous letter from a concerned citizen with information that only the killer would know, police said. The letter writer also left his DNA when he licked the envelope. The DNA from the saliva matched what was found on Kane's clothing, authorities said this week. Finally, in 2022, Pennsylvania State Police used genetic genealogy testing to identify the killer. A local man named Scott Grimm, law enforcement officers said at a news conference last week. "I felt a little bit of everything when I found out," she told CNN. "I was happy to finally put a face behind the monster who took her from us, and upset that he will never be able to face consequences." "The lack of closure has added to the distress of losing their mother," she said. Then Reyes got a call last week from a detective about a stunning development in the case. After years of waiting for justice, she was relieved investigators finally had named her mother's killer. But she was disappointed to learn that Grimm had died in 2018 of natural causes at age 58 and will not pay for robbing her and her siblings of a childhood with the mother. Reyes said one of her fondest childhood memories was taking walks with her mother and seeing her suddenly dance to random music playing in stores as they passed. After her death, Reyes's aunt took her in and raised her, while her 2 brothers moved in with their father. She was portrayed as the slain prostitute, like she deserved what happened to her, said Reyes, 43, who lives in Leonhardsville, Pennsylvania. "She was loved. No one deserves what happened to her." Breakthrough technology cracks the case. Investigators said they identified Grimm as the killer using genetic genealogy, which combines DNA evidence and traditional genealogy to find biological connections among people. In recent years, companies like 23andMe and Ancestry have encouraged people to explore their genealogy by spitting into a tube and sending it off for analysis. With millions of users seeking to explore their genetic roots, the practice has become a big business. DNA collected from crime scenes can now be uploaded to an online service that compares it to DNA submitted by people using companies like 23andMe to explore their genealogy. Investigators analyzed Kane's clothing and found traces of an unknown man's DNA. They later determined that it matched the DNA on the envelope from 1990, confirming investigators' belief that the person behind the letter was the killer. But while investigators had Grim's DNA profile, there was nothing to identify him because he had never been arrested for anything that required his DNA to be put into the system, authorities said. Nathan Trade said at the news conference. All of that stuff was preserved the way it should be because they knew probably somewhere down the line whatever they collected could be that little piece of evidence to solve the case, Trade said. Well, here we are in 2022, and that little piece of evidence that they collected was exactly what we needed. Reyes still has questions. Investigators don't know much about Grim other than he lived in the nearby Hamburg, Pennsylvania area. There was just intimate details about where she was disposed of, how her clothes were displayed, stuff like that, Womer said. They declined to elaborate how they obtained his DNA when he's been dead for 4 years. Meanwhile, Reyes still misses her mother. It has been hard growing up without a mom, she said. No child should ever have to grow up without their mom. Reyes still has so many questions. She'd ask Grim if he was still alive. Why did he kill a young woman who was just trying to take care of her children, and what went through his mind when he learned she had a family that loved her? Reyes knows she'll never get the answers, but she's glad her family finally know.
And finally, thank you all for watching the video. Please like and comment your opinion so we can discuss together. Don't forget to subscribe, press the bell to follow and update many other interesting news. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.